Sawubona, Dumelang, Molweni. Welcome to Constitution Hill, the home of the Constitutional Court, the place where our fundamental rights are protected. The story of Constitution Hill, here in the middle of Johannesburg, offers us a way of understanding these rights. Constitution Hill is built on the site of the old Fort prison complex. For nearly a century, thousands of prisoners passed through these prisons. Some were criminals, like the Spoilers Gang, or the murderer, Daisy the Melker. Some were freedom fighters like Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Joe Slovo, Robert Sobukwe, General Christian the Vet, Ellen Kuzwayo, Winnie Mandela, and the children of 1976. But most were people whose only crime was that they were black, or that they were resisting the oppressive laws of the day. The first jail was built here in 1892 by Paul Kruger, president of the Boer Suid-Afrikaanse Republiek. White male prisoners were held in the fort itself. All black prisoners and all female prisoners were kept in jails outside the fort. When the British started threatening Boer independence, Kruger surrounded the jail with rampart walls, turning it into a military fort in 1896. The fort fell to the British in 1900. In 1906, when the British left Johannesburg, the fort reverted from being a military garrison to being only a prison once again. Looking out over Constitution Hill, you will see the notorious Section 4 and 5 of the prison, commonly known as Number 4. Some of the buildings date back to 1904, but most of what you see was built in 1927. This is where sentenced black men were held in large communal cells. To the west of the old fort is the women's jail. It was built in 1909 and held black and white women in separate sections. The two towers you see on Constitution Square are the remnants of the awaiting trial block, demolished to make way for the court. This is where black men who were awaiting trial were held. The stairwells have been kept to remind us of what was here before. The Constitutional Court is actually built around another two of these stairwells. If the prisons on the site remind us of our difficult past, then this new court holds our hope for the future. Our new constitution says that all people in our country have the right to freedom, equality, and dignity. Each of the 11 justices of the Constitutional Court has written these words in his or her own handwriting in the concrete above the main entrance to the court. And carved onto the doors of the court are our 27 basic constitutional rights. They are in every official language as well as sign language. A visit to the jails of Constitution Hill will give you an extraordinary experience of how our rights that are now protected were once violated in the past. Sonke sinelungelo lokuthetha ngokukhululekileyo, ilungelo lokukhetha kwezopolitiko, ukuzingca, ezenkonzo, ingcinga okanye uluvo, nenkululeko yokuhamba naphi na. From the beginning of Johannesburg's history, the movement of black people was controlled and restricted. If you were black, you were only allowed in the city if you had a job and a dompas, which permitted you to be here. If you didn't have one, you landed up in these jails. One of the main struggles of black South Africans was to win back the right to move freely in the country of their birth. And many political activists were jailed here for fighting for this right. Others were jailed for exercising freedoms we can now take for granted. The freedom to say and read what you like, the freedom to live where you like, the freedom to do the work of your choice, the freedom to love who you like. If you try to exercise these freedoms, you landed up in these prisons. Sonke siyalingana emehlweni omthetho, kwaye sinelungelo elilinganayo kukhuselo neziqhamo zomthetho. For those of us who did not live through apartheid, ConHill gives us a sense of what inequality and discrimination really looked like. The conditions were hugely unequal. While there were up to 4 white prisoners to a cell, black prisoners were kept in violent, overcrowded, and filthy cells. In the workshops at ConHill, ex-prisoners and warders have spoken about how the discrimination worked. Everything was regulated according to race. White prisoners did clerical work, while black prisoners did menial labor. And the working conditions of black warders often made them feel like they were the prisoners. But this legacy of inequality is not just visible inside the prison. From the ramparts of the old fort, we're able to look over Johannesburg, a city still struggling to overcome the decades of inequality between its white residents and its black ones. Our constitution recognizes that there can be no equality without social justice. Already the Constitutional Court has made several landmark judgments entrenching socio-economic rights. Wonke ubani unesiphiwo sesidima nelungelo lokhuselo lwesidima sakhe. All prisons are violent places. But in South African prisons, such as these ones, entirely innocent people were subjected to the humiliations of prison life too.
And then we went down.
At workshops on ConHill, ex-prisoners tell the stories of these humiliations.
If you ladies remember, our cells were in a row, then we had that veranda. That's for night to stand to attention on the veranda. Strip! Oh, shit. I'm wondering what the hell's going on. She said, I said strip. It's end of July, something like that. Winter early morning in Johannesburg. And we had to strip naked, stand naked. Then she said, squat. I'm looking at Spawn, I'm saying, what the hell is this woman saying? She said, squat. I'm telling you, we had to squat with our legs open, and she shone a torch up our vaginas. Then she said, open your case. Open the case. She took the case and she threw it now onto the tarmac. Here's Spawn, bending up, picking up all our clothes, putting it back in the case.
And I think
But ex-prisoners also tell us how they resisted these humiliations.
they were taken aback that we stood up to them. We never called them boss, And I think in a grudging kind of way, they respected us, and that's one of the reasons that the common law prisoner and the warders or anything never actually, for that 7 months we were here, never harmed us or anything like that,
Just by coming back to ConHill, these women and men are participating in the process of reclaiming their dignity. The Constitution begins with the words, "We, the people." It belongs to all South Africans and came about through all our contributions. Our political protests, our willingness to talk ourselves out of war and into a negotiated settlement, our votes in referendums and elections, our signatures on petitions, Just as the Constitution belongs to all of us, so too does Constitution Hill. We all have something to add to it. Just by being here today, we are helping to build Constitution Hill. We are adding another layer to South Africa's extraordinary history to be discovered by the generations to come. When the awaiting trial block was demolished, the bricks of its walls were carefully preserved. They've been used to build the walls of the court chamber. They've also been used to lay the Great African Steps. And so, as you walk up the Great African Steps with number 4 on the one side and the court on the other, you're walking between the past and the future. At Constitution Hill, we build our freedom with the bricks that once imprisoned us. We invite you to walk this path with us.